tell us a little story. I haven't read that one. So
Yeah.
what is that?
Well, Glimmers of Hope is a young adult novel. So the ages of the characters are 18. They're going into college. They're getting ready to attend Alfred University, which is where I went to school, which is in New York. The story starts off with Birdie is the main character. She was actually abandoned as an infant at a train station and then put into foster care. So her life, her childhood has been very rough. It's been painful and difficult. And she has worked her whole life to be able to get into college and to escape the foster care system. And she ends up needing to work before her first semester at college and takes a job for a wealthy family. The young man who lives at this wealthy family happens to be somebody who was very mean to her in high school, was her high school bully. And so it's about her adventure through that summer and through her first year in college and learning about the identity of who her birth mother was, who her birth father was, and finding love and all of those kind of growing up type of things.
Mm-hmm. Does she find a way to kill the bully?
No, not so much.
All right, so it's not that type of that type of book.
No.
All right, well that's where I would have took the ending.
That's a different type of book.
No, I also was abandoned at a train station.
Yes,
so
I believe that, Lauren.
I can relate to I'm kidding, man. You see his eyes. Was there much difference coming from the first book to the second book in getting it published and getting the publisher on board? Was it easy or is it more difficult?
It was easier because I already had a publisher established, so I didn't have to go through the process of finding one, which made it way easier. It also took me only about 6 months to write, whereas the worst thing I could do took me, I think it was like 4 years before I finally was ready to submit it.
I would like to understand more how the process looks like from the first book, for example. Before the first book, how did you have first the idea, how you were sure that you were gonna write a book? Who did you need to talk to? Do you actually write everything like on a paper or type and then show to someone to edit? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a really interesting process and a very difficult process to get published. That's why a lot of people do self-publishing, for instance, is really popular because it is so hard to find a publisher to pick up your work. The process itself was I needed to finish, and this is what I read online. I did a lot of research to try to find out how to do this. And the main thing was they kept saying you need to have a finished product. You know, your manuscript needs to be done. Not just an idea of a manuscript and then contact publishers. They don't care about that. They need a finished work. So I finished my manuscript first, which again, like I said, took some time until I was happy with it. And then I started going through the process of figuring out if I wanted to try to get an agent for the book to represent it or to submit directly to publishers. Okay. So then that process is you have to query them, you write letters, you have to send in synopsises and hope that somebody likes it enough to represent it. And I got lucky and was able to find somebody who did, but it can be a very difficult process. A lot of writers will complain about just how painful it is to be rejected from an agent or like a publisher. And, you know, I think if anybody's listening to this and who's kind of wanting to do this or is going through this process, you have to just not let those things bring you down. And you just keep pushing. You know, they're your dreams. Only you're going to make them happen. So, you know, relying on somebody else to believe in you is nonsense. You have to make it happen. So just keep at it. And if you keep at it, you'll get lucky and you'll find somebody who likes your work.
And what would be the difference between the agent and the publisher? Like what?
So it's an interesting difference. And some people have an agent. So an agent queries and submits your books to publishers on your behalf. And some publishing companies won't take a submission unless it's from an agent. So, and then others, of course, are open to any submissions. So it depends on the publisher. Some of the larger publishing houses, like in New York, and you know your big names, they won't even talk to you unless you have an agent and you know probably a few other works too. So. The whole book game is really like a game of chess, and it's very complicated and very stressful, but I'm very glad I went through it because it was worth it in the end, but it does take a lot of patience, a lot of time.
Okay.
And you have to be very determined to make it happen.
So with your current publishing company, do you have some sort of an agreement, like a 5-book or 7? I don't know.
A lot of publishers do that. My publishing company does it 1 book at a time. And then there's different clauses that you can get with different publishers that say, you can't take your work to another publisher for the next 5 works, or, they'll have these different clauses in their contracts. I'm lucky because my publisher is not like that. They're very just really great, and they'll do 1 book at a time. So if they like my work and I submit it, then they're like, okay, here's your contract. And then they take it 1 book at a time. But a lot of publishers are like that. Yes.
And how's the marketing done? Okay, after you write the book, you need to make sure people know that the book exists. What do you do?
So the marketing part, I think, of being a current 2022 published author is probably the worst part of it. Back, 50 years ago, a lot of writers would write the book and then they never had to do anything else. There was no marketing involved. Now it's very important that you develop a lot of social media accounts, that you try to build a social media presence. In fact, some publishers won't pick up your work unless you already have an established social media large following. So it's very social media based now, and it's kind of a bummer because you can't just write work now and have it published. Like you are responsible partly for developing a lot of social media campaigns and things like that, which not everybody likes to do. It's not my favorite thing to do. I'm learning, but it's not.
We can help with that. We're prophets.
Yes, that's right. You can. That's exactly right. It's those kind of things, though. It's very like I said, it's a game. It's like the book game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second book you mentioned kind of took place at your own college.
Yeah.
Which I believe you got to go back to your own college and kind of represent yourself and share some of this excitement. Talk about that experience.
Yeah, so I got to go back as an alumni and got to attend the Alumni Event and have a table and sell my books. And it was really exciting to talk to the community about Birdie's story, especially because it was set there in Alfred. And it was really one of the coolest book signings I've ever done by far. And there was a lot of people there and a lot of interest, so it was really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And then did you get to touch base with any previous professors and stuff? They were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So
I did. I got to talk to people I knew when I was there. My old boss, Janet Marble, she ran the alumni events office, and so I got to touch base with her. I even had Thanksgiving with her once when I was in college, so I got to meet up with all those people, so it was really cool. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's hit the third book while we're on that. That when was that one released?
Just this summer. So it's summer 2022. It's probably my favorite book yet. I love it. It's based in the Colorado Rockies, which is, again, where I'm from. So a lot of childhood related imagery going on for me, which I think is why I liked it so much. It is a little bit more, it's young adult, but with some adult themes. So in the book world, sometimes that's called new adult genre because it's not quite young adults. It's a little bit older. And it's about a woman named May she's an alcoholic. She's gotten kicked out of college, and she is forced back to where she spent her summers as a child to maintain the property there. And in doing so, she runs into her former best friend, Dylan, who she had ghosted many years prior and never spoke to him again. And he's very upset with her. And now they're kind of forced proximity for the summer and trying to figure that out. And it's a very... again, a coming of age and learning to be happy kind of a story and finding love and all of those fun things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Victor, have you ever been ghosted?
What is being ghosted?
I was ghosted.
As soon as she said that, I'm like, what does that mean?
So ghosted is...
you disappear? You don't talk to the person?
You've been trying to get maybe you and a friend or a girl... You have kind of created some relationship, and all of a sudden she goes blank. Like you're like, hey, maybe get together this weekend. Nothing.
And she doesn't tell you why or say anything.
So then you called that. She went ghosted.
Yeah,
gone.
Okay. She ghosted you. She kind of like disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could, your next message would be like, why are you ghosting me?
Okay. Okay.
To which she won't respond.
Right, of which you will still get ghosted.
Yes.
I'm still in the process of learning some English expressions.
Oh, for sure.
Or sayings.
That's an important one to know. It's a common one now.
So now that you know, have you been ghosted?
I mean, I think so when I was younger. Yeah. I think everybody has, right?
I haven't. I've never been ghosted.
No, that's
no,
not
I'm
true.
kidding. I know. I could probably write a book on how many times I've been ghosted.
Yeah, I think everybody has. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just thought it'd be funny to see if
you knew. I didn't know.
I didn't know if you knew. I really didn't. Like you said, some of them you'll know, and some won't. So. Oh man, you're tuned in to the Talk About It podcast. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And we're here to talk about it. Each week, we're going to have a guest come in, talk about it, tell their story, and really just hope to have some fun and bring some positive energy your way.
Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you know when's the next episode, and I see you guys in the next episode.
Talk About It podcast.